Now that I have this chair, I feel like I could be like anywhere in the room. It gives me so much more filming power. I am so happy. You guys could see the lamb, right? I feel like the lamb is the star of the show. So I've been watching BookTube a lot recently, which is usually when I get really inspired to film. And I've also picked up reading a little bit. Like, it's the 8th of the month and I've already read 4 books, which is more than I've done for the past 5 months. So I think I'm in a really good place with reading that I can start making videos again. I'm gonna give you a good old-fashioned book haul. This book is sliced. When does that happen? Do you see that? These are all of the books that I've acquired in recent times. I would just say November and December, but I'm not sure about some of these. But if I recalled it, then I put it in this pile. Let's get into it. It's a book haul. It's not that hard. What did I order? No, this was an order, right? No. Mainly, recently I've been buying from Better World Books. I've been buying on Pango. I bought a couple of things new, but most of this is used. So first, this is a Better World Books order. I'm not gonna say that every time, I promise, that I made, but I've been getting into Star Wars recently, so now obviously I want to read the books. So I'm starting with the Thrawn trilogy, the original one, and the first volume is Heir to the Empire. Fun fact, this was a 4-book order, but for some reason, they refunded me money for the other 2 books in the series because I ordered the entire trilogy because, you know, I found them in these covers and I'm really into these covers. I see $10 in my bank account. I'm like, why did they give me this money? And then my package arrived the next day and I figured out why. So I'm kind of peeved about that. But we move. This is introducing Thrawn, who's a very popular villain, I believe, in the expanded universe, which is basically the books. And this is also a Legends series. I'm kind of interested in reading just like everything, so I thought this was a really good place to start. It's a lot of people's favorites and I'm not 100% sure what it's about. Again, I'm super into the cover and I'm mad that they refunded me. Why did they refund me? That is the only time that I have been wronged by Better World Books. She's still my favorite. I still love her, but I had also ordered Vicious so that I could get free shipping, obviously. I finally bought Vicious. This is a really used copy, but like, I don't really care about the condition of books, honestly. If it's a used book, it's gonna be used. I like the vibe of the characters, you know, the way that people speak about this book. I think it's really gonna be something that I like, and if not, I'm gonna be highly disappointed because I've been anticipating reading this. I can't in good grace like spend full money. Like, there's some books that I'll no problem get new, like The Burning God, for example. I just bought new, but you know, this one I was trying to find a used copy and I finally found one. And this cover specifically, the old covers not a fan of, but these I like the redesigned covers. Superhero villains, the main characters are like gay, but they're not. I'll put them on the floor. Is that gonna annoy me later? I don't know. I don't think it will. Whatever. I think these I made in their own order. So these are both sci-fi books. And so this was the book I added. It's Behind the Throne by K.B. Wagers. This is actually an author that I've been meaning to get into their backlist because they write very queer, inclusive space operas, sci-fi, whatever. I think they have like 3 series out so far, a trilogy, and a duology. So this is the first book they ever published, and this is about, actually I read this is the last book I finished like a couple days ago, but this is about Hale, who is part of the royal family, but she ran away because she was not about that lifestyle, and she became a very popular gun runner among the galaxy, but now she has to go home because basically most of her family has been executed or has been assassinated, and now she has to like go into her role. She has to become a princess again and kind of fix everything. And so this is a very political sci-fi. We just get a lot of like court politics, we get a lot of assassination attempts. The fact that the main character in this is closer to 40 I think is really good. I think it also makes sense in terms of like who she is because she's very confident. This is not a review, I'm so sorry. Right now I'm really in the mood for space operas, so this is perfect. I made this order was because of Seven Devils by Laura Lamb and Elizabeth May. I read this earlier this year and I'm already saying I'm pretty sure it's gonna be my book of the year. Spoiler alert, it is competing with a couple of other books, but I really, really loved it, and so I wanted to own it, obviously. The spine is not my favorite. Anyways, this is another sci-fi action-ish kind of thing where like all of these characters just get into the situation and now they're literally against the entire empire, which I think is pretty funny. But I just love this book. It's so like action-packed and it has the best pacing. I am ride or die for action-packed sci-fi, but sometimes I feel like the pacing is off. The pacing of this book is perfect. I was looking for a used copy of this because this book is like $22. It's like $25, and so is the second book. So I love this book, but I'm not gonna spend that. Not a lot of people have read this book, so it's pretty hard to find one. In this order, I did 4 books, and there's a classics theme. Obviously, the reason I made this order was for Dracula, because I really loved this cover. And then it came, sorry, I'm struggling a little bit. Oh, it came, and I'm like so obsessed. Look it's a short book, but it's just the way that this book was made. I love it. So first of all, the cover. I already showed you it basically. And also it has big text, which I'm a really big fan of because we know the classics. They always make those editions with the smallest text ever. I bought this totally with the intention of reading it this fall, which didn't happen. So this is the Vintage Children Classics. It's Dracula. You know what Dracula is about. Whoa, that fell. I had also bought Emma. I read Persuasion earlier this year. I want to read everything, and Emma seems like a good next book because a lot of people like it. Sorry, I thought I saw underline, but I guess not. Also Clueless, top 5 movies of all time, favorite movies of all time, obsessed, and I know Clueless is like a really good, probably the best retelling of Emma. I'm ready for it. I also bought The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is like everybody's favorite classic, but I have not read it. I thought I was getting a different cover, which is why I ordered that edition, but I guess not. I got this one, which is the Modern Library Classics. I don't hate these. There's something about like blocky classic editions that I'm not a fan of, with all of these borders and stuff, and it's just very like structured. I kind of like the images, the illustrated editions a lot more, but you know, it's fine. It's okay. Like, I don't hate it. It does very much look very sleek and modern. That one I feel like is one that I could read any time of the year. And then I have Another Country by James Baldwin. Finally, Giovanni's Room is like one of my all-time favorite books, and so I've been wanting to get into his other works, obviously, because he's just such a talented writer. So I thought I would try Another Country as a transition, because this one's also set in like different places among the worlds, and it's just about passion. That's what it says. It's a novel of passions and love and things like that. She's a little thicker than I thought. She's 400 something pages. I'll talk about some Tango Books orders that I made. This one, Reputation by Lex Croucher. This is obviously a special edition. I forgot what special edition it was because she sent the little like promotional flyer with it, but I just threw that away because the letter is literally in the book and I don't need any more stuff. I don't need any more stuff in my room. This is a historical fiction, kind of in the stylization of a Jane Austen novel. There you go, that's what I was saying. And if you read this, look, the girlies, they get mad when you try and say that an author kind of writes like Jane Austen, but I'm telling you, like, this has the same tone of voice as a Jane Austen novel. This is essentially about a girl who has to stay with her aunt and uncle after her parents kind of need to go to the countryside. No, they need to go to the city to get fresh air, but they want their daughter to continue having that society life. And so she's at her aunt and uncle's place for the summer, and she meets this girl who's very wild, very exciting, has a very exciting life, and it kind of becomes like a little bit of a drama situation, because before she met her, life was very boring. She was very stale, and then she met this girl, very exciting, very drama filled, very messy. Think about like the drama of Gossip Girl. Think about like rich people being messy. That's kind of what this is about. And obviously there's a romance, as any classic historical fiction novel. I do recommend this. It was really fun. Also from that seller, this was all one order by the way, but I got Guild by Reevan Kennedy. I was so happy to find this for $5. I read the Play to Prisoner series last year during the summer. It was a really good week. favorite week of the year. I was just having so much fun with that series, but I read it digitally, so I want to reread the series before I read the 4th book, but I want to read them physically because this is a series that I want to own. But this is a dark romance series about a girl who is the acquaintance of King Midas. She's a woman of gold, and the only woman that King Midas has ever turned gold. So she's kind of kept in a gilded cage, is a whole metaphor or whatever, but she finally gets to experience life a little, which kicks the plot of this story. She's in a bit of a ruckus, so it's just about her like discovering herself away from Midas. There's obviously a romance that eventually, oh my god, slow burn like no other. There's a romance that eventually comes to place. It's just like such a fun series. I think there's a lot of emotional depth to it that I really appreciate too. It has a lot of content warnings. It's not a series that I necessarily would recommend to everybody. Nonetheless, I love it, so I need to reread that one. And finally, from that order, I also bought Plain Bad Heroines, another book that I have read, but I wanted the hardcover edition just cause, I don't know. This is just one of those books that has like a very specific style to it, and I just thought it would be cool to have it. Also, these pages are really white. I did not notice that. Pages are not this white. I think it is, if I remember, lesbian specific. I'm just obsessed. I love this book. I needed to own it. But A Dowry of Blood, the Tor published, or no, the Orbit published edition, it's kind of dirty now because it has that texture, but this is by S.T. Gibson, obviously one of my favorite books of all time as well. I read it when it was self-published. I own the self-published edition. I would be so mad if I didn't. It has red sprayed edges. This I think is really classy. I just like the way that that's printed on. I'm obsessed with the way that they designed this book as well. Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldrey. Ever since like the hype's been starting to get big about this one, I've just been wanting to read it. This is just, you know, everyone talks about it. It's a cozy fantasy about a coffee shop. I thought this was going to be glossy, but I was very happy when it arrived to me matte. And I was very happy when it arrived to me with this on the back as well. The other book I ordered with that is The Count of Monte Cristo. I'm not really happy about the way that this flops. It was designed this way so that it doesn't break in the spine because it's such a big book, but it doesn't have the floppiness that I want. Oh, I just broke the spine. This is the next big classic that I'm going to tackle. I feel like I always want to be reading a big classic, so obviously I finished not so recently Anna Karenina. And now I really want to read The Count of Monte Cristo because everybody is just talking about just how good this book is and how worth it is. Finally, the last 3 books I have to talk about are actually all from the same series. And I got them for $12. I just want to talk about the Skyward series. I got it for basically under $10 if I remember, because I had Pango Bucks to use too. So Skyward, Starsight, and Cytonic. I know this would piss people off that they're different, that they're paperback and hardback. I don't care. This is going to be my introduction to Brandon Sanderson, and I'm so excited. I'm more excited that I got these for so cheap. These books are really heavy, by the way. Did not expect that, but thank you for watching. Sorry if this seems a little bit messy, a little chaotic. I haven't filmed in a hot second. I love you guys. Bye.